Hello everyone on the internet and thanks for tuning in. I am RyuKiva of RyuKiva Toku.
Welcome to another episode of Toku Bros, and I am Dragon Zeron of the Tokusatsu Media Center.
Activate beast power.
Let's go!
Right, so today's episode is of Power Ranger Nature going into the end of March. So we're going to try and do a roundup of the month of March, although we are one episode short because episode 5 of Beast Morphers Season 2 does air this Saturday, which is technically today, depending on when I'm choosing to publish this. But let's talk a little bit sort of outside the episodes for the moment. Right, I'm going to start talking about the Lightning Collection. As I've been seeing the last couple of weeks, Wave 4 figures, everyone's going mad on their Wave 4 figures. Have you seen them?
I've seen bits and pieces. I think Trini was one of the ones announced, and I think a few others as well, maybe even a villain.
Right, so I mean, I do actually have the list in front of me, but even having, because off the top of my head, I knew I'd seen a lot of shots of Trini even before people were like getting it off the shelves. Like there's a lot of big hype, concerning obviously Thuy Trang died back in 2003, I believe. So in the way of that.
Or no, 2001.
2000, well, beginning of the previous decade at least.
Yeah.
I should know the dates a little bit better, but so her figure was always going to be a massive hype. Plus the fact that the Sentai equivalent was male. I believe it was boy Tiger Ranger. So there was a lot of emphasis, and again, when SHF did do a female MMPR, that there was kind of like there was a lot of relief that it had a skirt. So like obviously when it comes to the Lightning Collection, it was all about how Trini's face looked, because when it's come to the regular face moldings of each Ranger, they always come under such scrutiny, and it is genuinely hit and miss. So like I've seen the face sculpt, and I mean it's not perfect, but I think it's all right. And yeah, go on.
I remember them complaining about the Billy figurine, because that was the one people were kind of been like, oh, oof. You remember that? Like they were saying that it looked like somebody else or something.
Well, this is it. Like I do remember MMPR season 2 when you had the head rangers. That was quite a thing for us back in the 90s. So again, so looking at the faces as adults, I think it's kind of nostalgic for us senior Ranger fans. But the one thing you might not have seen, if you're not too familiar with the current Lightning Collection, is Zero Ranger 3 Blue or Rocky. I mean, I haven't seen anyone actually buy the figure, so I'm not too sure how popular the figure is. But I know I saw like the press release of the figure, and everyone's like, "Oh, this face looks rubbish," which I will agree from the press release photos. I have seen a lot of SPD Red Ranger, which, again, I mean, it's another ethnic ranger, so I think they could have done a better job with him specifically. And then one that I know I've seen people showing photos of in boxes is of Blaze, which is the equivalent of
Buster,
I think. Well, yeah, from Go Busters. I think it was Dark Buster or whichever.
Which would enter as Red Ranger form.
Enter becomes. So like the dark red equivalent. So they've released that figure as well, which, again, I know I saw the press release photos, but otherwise, no, I've not seen too many people take this figure out of the box, maybe because they think it's going to be worth something in sometime in the future. But we'll talk about Wave 5 another time. Just to quickly end the figure talk, I remember so even though this is supposed to be a summary of month of March, in February they did release the Valentine's edition of Rita and Zedd. Now Lord Zedd was released in one of the previous waves, and people were going absolutely nuts for him. Not as nuts as Golda, but they did go absolutely. I mean, I've got the original '90s Lord Zedd, and looking at the Lightning Collection version, the one thing I will say is the Lord Zedd in the Lightning Collection doesn't light up. But the one thing that people were excited about is how we've now got, even if it's in Lightning Collection form, a figure of Rita Repulsa. So people are excited about that.
I think they should do her because they've been doing a lot of monsters recently. Like, and even the past few years, they did one for Dino Charge as well, which is kind of shocking.
It's nice. No, I mean, I'd say it's nice because I remember in the '90s, I think it was only until like maybe season 2, probably 3, that they started introducing like Monsters of the Week in action figure form. It's always a good thing. So, okay, that's enough figure talk. Let's talk Beast Morphers, the actual series. Obviously, just to kind of really put a cap on it, since Samurai, they seem to be doing like season part 1, season part 2 of the Sentai equivalent. So the thing is, like, I'm going to say straight off the bat before you even intervene, is like, alright, that for Beast Morphers, they've just gone with calling it
Season 1 and Season 2.
Yeah, which I think, to me, even though people were kind of like, oh, at least they're not calling it Super Beast Morphers or something, I kind of think they're missing the point. Well, I think that Hasbro missed the point that a lot of people, I don't know about a lot of people, but I know people who are sick of, like, super seasons. But I think just because you've not called it a super season
doesn't mean that the existence of season 2 is still there.
It's kind of neither here nor there, where they kind of do 2 seasons of 22 episodes each. When really, like, because before Disney were cut off, they were doing something like 30 episodes, and they were doing good things for 30 episodes. So even if it's not as extravagant as Super Sentai getting 48 plus episodes, it's 48 plus episodes and 2 movies and DVD specials, what they call
Hyper Battle.
Hypercoon, Televicoon magazine. This is it. I actually think that Hasbro could do something like that. Because I know during Zyuoja they did do internet webisodes, so they could easily do episodes with. Well,
the YouTube channel, like, maybe they could upload
exactly
stuff.
Absolutely that. But I think they're wasting opportunities, and I think next time we will talk about movie news. We won't cover like the new bits about just to cover little bits about the movie that that Hasbro are hyping, is that they're saying that it's going to have time travel, that they're going to meet '90s Rangers, that kind of thing. But we will.
And I don't think like the gay Blue Ranger is going to be a thing because we got this covered as not a good source.
I have heard that. But again, I heard that as in the form of a rumor. So we will cover movie we'll cover movie rumors and what Hasbro may or may not be doing next. So getting on to Beast Morphers, which is what I'm trying to do. We've obviously not been running with season 1. So in a nutshell, what are your burst impressions of season
I liked it quite a bit. I think it's probably the best show we have in a long while. Like, it had some great writing. It was able to talk about serious subjects like blackmail and like dating and they were serious about it, and it actually like made the kid actually feel fucking smart. They didn't talk down. They didn't they treated everybody equal, and that's what I loved about Beast Morphers. Like, the villains are great, the Rangers are great. We grow attached to them, and just man, it's a great show. I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Wow, that was quite a passionate review you gave.
It really is.
No, I will still say that I did enjoy Beast Morphers. Without a shadow of a doubt. There's only one thing that I'm feeling since this kind of whole new decade era, Samurai onwards, is that I just genuinely feel that Nickelodeon have too much grasp on the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even Disney era and the original Saban era, or even
Fox.
the short Fox era even. Like, you did have like that corny kiddish humor, but I just kind of think since Nickelodeon have really ramped it up, I will give credit to Beast Morphers that they've watered it down. But I'm still feeling like with the brother and sister duo, Betty and
And
I know he's a Latino guy.
yeah, fat Latino guy.
Easy boy. Right, but like the brother and sister duo, it's like it's a continuation of Monty and his nerd friend from.
Yeah, but it wasn't as painful as Monty and
No,
Victor.
see to me, like their little comic relief. It's like because they tried to bring it back with Bulk and Spike in Samurai. They had a bit of a recess from that in Megaforce, which for all its faults, at least I don't think that was a fault that they didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to actually, I don't think they had that in Dino Charge either. But then Ninja Steel, they have Monty in Beast Morphers Betty. I mean, again, it's like
They did say that
like
he
it's
was
still a
probably
lot more
him, I
watered
guess.
down. It's still a lot more watered down, especially the whole Nickelodeon vibe, the Nickelodeon style writing. It is watered down, but for me,
Mm-hmm.
I still feel it's there. And like, because the thing is, like, when it came to the original Bulk and Skull era, it's like it kind of felt a little bit more natural. I mean, it was still childish, it's still ridiculous, it's still comical, and it was comic relief. But I just kind of feel that this whole Neo Saban era, they've really even Neo Saban slash Hasbro, it's like they've really kind of forced it. And I think if they water it down, it won't look so forced. And then again to just kind of really give a burst impression of Beast Morphers S1. Like again, I do like a lot of the wow factor. I like the fact that it's kind of more action packed.
Mm-hmm.
It really does feel a lot more action packed. I mean, because Disney era, even though I mean, in my opinion, Disney era had stronger storytelling but less choreography, whereas everything the last 10 years, even Megaforce, for all its faults, they have done a lot better in the choreography and having the actors do their own stunts.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that the story's suffering, but it's like with Beast Morphers, they at least up their game with the story.
Yeah,
And,
it really is good. It feels normal. They're able to pace and put some story in for a filler. And that's
Mhm.
what I like about it. And there's a lot of great things we could talk about for Beast Morphers.
Right, so let's get on to talking about season two, Beast Morphers season two.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So, what did you think of episode one? So, just to give a summary, episode one was all about everyone was at peace, everything was like back to normal, everyone was living normal lives, and then Steel the robot
Mm-hmm.
was all like, I think they are sort of like coming back up,
I think Evox is
things are coming
back.
back. Yeah, that was kind of the tagline for
Yeah.
S2 anyway. But what? So, impressions of the episode.
It was alright. It was a somewhat decent opener. I think they should have
There's
done
been
some.
worse openers, to be fair.
Yeah, there's been worse, but it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? I did like the stunt work and whatnot, and seeing beat Jay outside of the thing and actually being the main focus of the episode, and not what's his name?
With
Um,
Ranger.
Nate.
Yeah, Nate.
Better than Nate. Instead of them just doing together, I think it was just a good episode
I
for
mean, I
BJ.
think in terms of writing, I mean, for the four episodes in general, I do kind of think it does kind of retread ground on a lot of the S1 episodes, and sometimes not in a good way. So the whole not believing still, I mean, bearing in mind, S1, especially the second half of S1, Evox being back was still kind of cool. You know what I mean?
And him having a human form, like actually being.
The thing is, no, but you got to remember, like in episode 1, they were only hinting that he was taking Devon's father, the mayor's form.
Well, actually, I do think we saw a bit of it.
No,
Like,
but this is it. They were doing the whole teasing thing, weren't they? No, I mean, like, because episode 2, they then go again. They start treading old ground again. This is where they really start treading old ground. In that we got, I mean, for starters, we got a cameo from
Elsa from Dino Thunder.
yeah. So she cameoed in episode 2, but
She's a.
easy now. All right, but I'll still say that because like the whole save the turtle thing. This does kind of go. I mean, like on one hand, it can be like a corny episode, old Nickelodeon, old modern times, old climate change, old making it political. Which, I mean, me trying to enjoy my Power Rangers kind of interferes with that a little bit. But I will say it's still very traditional because it does take me back to when Trini and Kimberly were trying to save Angel Grove and were doing like sort of rubbish, rubbish bag drive. And like collecting rubbish in the park.
They're trying to bring back the Greta Thunberg.
So it kind of has its roots, and I kind of appreciated that. So episode 3, right? So this is where there was like some. This is where, for me, this is kind of where it feels really Nickelodeon. In that it was like, it was a gaming tournament. Yeah, it's very cliche. It's like, gaming tournament and. The brother needs an operation and she's doing it for the money and da, 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 da. But I mean, as cliche as that was, and as very Nickelodeon as that was, I do think it. Yeah, I mean, bearing in mind it's for kids anyway, LOL. But I will say I do appreciate that. Devon giving the money. Spoiler alert: Devon gives the money away. Him doing that teaches a good lesson to.
Yeah, and I don't think we have had that
lesson.
type of lesson in a while. Like, you know what I mean? Because I never really seen them give away money to help somebody for an opera.
I think, or not in that way, but like, again, it takes me back to the MMPR roots of, raising money for this cause, that cause, and giving money to a good cause. So I do kind of think it's got its merits, And then episode 4, this is, now I had a lot of gripes with a lot of the cliche in that. This is the whole, like you've got Ravi or Rabbi, as you guys pronounce it. He was all like, the secret. So I like the fact that he was retreading old ground from S1 and then developing it. So I really thought that was, like it had. I mean, to be fair, there was a lot going on in that episode. I mean, things like, I kind of felt that the acting was a bit off. That it was a bit cliche. But still, what did you think of episode 4? Seeing as that was the last that's been broadcast.
I liked it. It was actually pretty decent seeing like Robbie paint, develop his art and whatnot, and try to he attempted to hide it, but eventually his mom found out, and we actually get to see them kind of grow a little bit closer. Because let's not forget, in season 1, she basically forced him from the beginning to basically in a uniform. And that kind of leading to me that he was always been a military type person, you know what I mean?
I mean, just before we go into the 4-episode analysis, I do kind of think this one had more of the cliches. So you did have the French guy, she's sweet artist and that.
And that was the guy from who
and
played.
Then it's from what?
That was it's the guy what's his name? Who played the character
I don't know. I didn't know.
New Zealander. Keelan or something with that.
I don't know, but while you look that up, I mean, I'll still say that I kind of felt, things cliche but the mother was okay with him painting the buildings and that, and things sort of, bad script writing. Well, not script writing, but bad choreography, I guess. Would be it's they're like, look out, and you literally see the mother actually run away even though she's not supposed to know that was supposed to happen. So I that was a bad edit on their part.
I do think they should have showed her at least shoot. I think they should give her a weapon.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, I think if she had a weapon or two, like a small gun or something,
Well,
like she
yeah,
could.
like things like, she then turned up with the guns to throw at the Rangers, which I thought,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all right, here or there. So, all right, let's just quickly go. Let's just kind of do this on a roll. So, what do we think of the cast of Beast Morphers?
I love it. Like, all the characters fit the roles. Like I like Ronnie Travis as what's his name? Um, what's the Red Ranger's name?
Devon.
Devin. I like him as I like his Red Ranger. Like a very, he seems like an easygoing guy who cares about people, but doesn't want to disappoint his father. And then the Yellow Ranger, forgot what her name is.
Her name's. I'm trying to think. Her name's either Zoe in the show or Zoe in an actress.
Yeah,
I can't
Zoe. Yeah,
remember.
I like Zoe. She's actually just a little bit younger than me, but she's kind of hot.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. Right. Well, I'm gonna quickly skim over everyone quickly. I mean, like Devon as Red Ranger. I think he's doing it so well. Like he's so cash about his role. And he's not like, he's not too, even though he was technically a rookie Red, he's kind of like really found his stride in season 2, even from season. And like,
he's able to grow.
Like Ravi, I like the way
about.
he's quite the conservative guy, but he has this artistic streak. I mean, Yellow Ranger, Zoe, I think her name is, like, I don't think there's been too much development, but I think she's happy.
I hope in
anyway.
season 2 they'll
and like,
something,
I'm finding the Maya character a little bit kind of cliche, and like really, this is exactly why the brother and sister, in my opinion, are not needed, because he could have been comic relief on his own. Then you've got the brother and sister. I mean, the big guy's Latino and the sister's Asian, which doesn't quite make sense. But like, I actually think she's pretty. But then going on to the commander, I like the fact that they've got a female commander. I mean, not sure why her being Ravi's mother should impact the story, but when it comes to Blaze, like, there's not too much on Blaze, but Roxy, I did like that romantic storyline that they had.
I like it a lot.
But then it's like, but even though 4 episodes in, like, you see her come back, but then they've kind of disappeared. The Neo, Roxy, and Blaze. And then I will say, there was one more character I was going to think. Right, so Nate and Steel. So, like, Nate, I absolutely love him as the Latino nerd. I mean, he's not too much Latino, but even though he is. But I love how he's kind of got that real conservative, almost Billy, but not trying to be Billy streak about him. Again, he brings the whole kind of really false science fiction thing to the series. Like, because,
and I like how they're
even watching episode 3, like, you see all this whole neon, like, hard light hologram thing, which is really ridiculous science fiction. But yet, like, one thing that someone pointed out to me online is like, oh, well, Billy in the original MMPR series had a flying beetle, like the car. And it's like, I guess it kind of does have all that going on. And like, Neo Saban brought that back, especially in Ninja Steel, where you had the Pink Ranger doing stuff like that, which is kind of her equivalent in Ninja. But kind of doing that on a much watered down level. And then bearing in mind, episode 3 wasn't necessarily about Nate. And then still, I kind of think he's a watered down version of Stagbuster. So I will prefer Stagbuster, if I'm honest.
Like, I love Stagbuster. He was probably my favorite.
That's a lot to live up to, but the fact that they've literally copied and pasted him, but then
I think it fits his character.
This like biker personality, like hello brother, that kind of thing. But moving on, just in a quick sentence, what do you think about the looks of Beast Morphers, like as a series, as it looks on screen?
It looks really good. It looks fresh, even though the footage is like 8 years old now. So.
Well, this is it. I mean, because I do feel mixed about the fact that they're using more original footage than Sentai footage.
Exactly, and that's what I like about it. Like, you're able to make it from the story that you want to tell, and that's what I like. I do wish they'll use more practical effects, you know what I mean? But, it's Hasbro, New Zealand, it's not Japan, sadly, so.
All right. I mean, just to kind of wrap up the episode, and there's so much more we could unpack from the actual series so far.
Hmm.
All right. So going forward, what are you looking forward to in the months ahead?
I hope we get more development on Zoe and maybe find out who Nate's parents are. Cause we hear him say talk about them sometimes, but we never hear like more. You know, I
I
kind
would
of want to
say
see
I've
more.
only really recalled Nate saying, "Oh, he never had brothers and sisters," which is why he
Yeah.
his attachment to Steel. But I would say going forward, I'm looking forward. Right, so just to literally wrap this whole episode up, I'm going to say that I'm looking forward to the anniversary. Well, they're not really anniversary episodes, but the actual team
It,
episodes where
yeah.
it's coming back. They're bringing back loads of members of Dino Charge, and then a few other randoms.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you see Green Ranger in the episode 4 of Power Ranger Beast Morpher?
Green Ranger.
Yeah, Dino Charge Green Ranger.
He was in episode 4. Where
Yeah, he was the dancer guy.
was he?
Yeah,
No, because I saw he was because he was wearing a mask and a blonde wig,
yeah, that was him.
and you're saying that's Green Ranger.
Yeah, I'll pull it up for you.
No, it's cool. It's cool. We're ending the episode. We've talked too long. But no, I'm going to look that up, and I'm looking forward to the team up. And there's so much more we can talk about, but we'll talk about it next time. Just to wrap it up, I am RyuKiva of RyuKiva Toku. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, and my blog at ryukiva.wordpress.com. Us, Toku Bros, you can find us at Facebook, Instagram, and this very YouTube channel at Toku Bros. And our Twitter is specifically Toku Bros 71. And my boy Dragon Zeron over there, he is on YouTube,
YouTube and
Patreon
Instagram
at Dragon
and
Zeron, and Twitter at Dragon Zeron 71. Sign off.
as well as Tokusatsu Media Center. I run that thing, and I've been sharing new news and
We
whatnot. So.
we are both admins of too many Facebook groups anyway.
Mhm.
So
So yeah,
man,
thanks for letting us talk to you guys about Power Rangers Beast Morphers, and we'll see you next time on Toku Bros.
see you next time.